scared of the future, and I hate my past. Present hurts too much, but I know it won't last. No, it won't last.
Welcome to Men Talk. I'm your host, Dakota, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey. Here at Men Talk, we dive deep into the often overlooked world of men's mental health, exploring topics that matter to you. From personal stories to insightful guest interviews, we'll cover everything from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. My mission, to break the stigma and promote mental wellness one conversation at a time. Let's embark on this journey together and start making a difference.
I've got a brain that wants me dead. I've got a woman that wants me in bed, and I'm somewhere in between, trying not to blow my brains out.
All right, guys. Hello, everyone. We are back here at Men Talk with Mrs. Goss. Mrs. Dakota is here once again to join us here at Men Talk. So I am honestly, I'm so blessed to just have her here by my side because, she's wanting to record this one. So let's hear what you have to say, Mrs. Dakota, since we've brought you back on the show and you said you needed to say this and get this off your chest.
That is not what I said.
Oh, sorry, guys. I thought that's what you said.
So this podcast is going to be a little bit different. So we've had a lot of people in the past ask how do you guys do it? We both live very, very busy lives, and I feel like the past 6 months or so, our life has kind of took a turn for not really the worst, I guess you could say, but God's really threw a wrench in our plans for how this year was supposed to look for us. And so I wanted to hit on things that we do in our marriage or our life that we feel like a lot of people don't do anymore in their relationships. So this isn't really like a depression / mental health video, I guess you could say.
It's just more of a marriage.
It's more of a marriage relationship type podcast, I guess. So I'm going to go through things that we do that I feel like people don't do anymore, and we can elaborate on it if you choose to do so. Okay?
All right, let's hear it.
So one thing we do as a family that I feel like is something that I don't see often anymore.
I'm going to beat you to it. We eat dinner as a family every night. I won.
You did win.
I win.
You did win. Okay, what is something we do every single night that no matter what, as long as the kids aren't asleep,
we pray.
And do what together?
I am going to win this Jeopardy song right now and give good night kisses and tuck them into bed.
Yeah, we do our whole bedtime routine together as a couple. So like he said, we eat dinner together as a family every single night. And that is something growing up, I didn't get that. Most of the time I cooked for myself and I ate alone. And every now and then we would eat together, I guess you could say, play family. But that's something that I feel like is a very big non-negotiable in our life and in our family life, is that we eat dinner together at the table. Last night, I think it was last night, Dakota wasn't hungry, and we went to a birthday party, so we had ate kind of a late dinner, but our kids would have had to eat again before they went to bed. If you know, you know. But so I made them dinner, and Dakota still came to the table and sat with us at the table, and we still ate dinner together, even though you didn't technically eat. And I feel like that's something, no matter how bad we feel, no matter how late we work, unless we're working till 10, 11 o'clock at night, we eat dinner together as a family.
I feel like it's very rare that we don't. I can probably count on one hand how many times we've never ate dinner as a family.
Wedding nights.
Or not even just wedding nights. I'm talking about if one of us is deathly, not deathly sick, but sick, or one of us was working. There was I think there was a couple nights I worked either really late, but not at home. I don't even know what I was doing. Yeah. I can't remember because when I was traveling for something. I can't remember. It was very rare though. It's been very, very rare that we didn't eat.
But we've done this forever. Even when Everett was a baby and he was a baby, we would sit his boppy on the kitchen table.
Or even not even the boppy. Do you remember when we put him in the high chair?
Yes,
the high chair was great.
He couldn't even eat table food.
He could barely even hold his head up. So we were stacking baby blankets beside of him just to sit in his high chair to eat dinner with him. Yes.
Yeah.
And now praying is a very big thing. For us, we do that every night.
Yes. We have a whole list of people on the bottom of the boys' television, their photos, and Everett will sit and he'll go through each and every one of them And we did that because for a long time we would say, hey, we got to pray for these people, and he would repeat us. And then I felt like I wanted to give him that because it's something he looks forward to. So we printed photos and taped them to the bottom of his TV, and he sits there and he says, like he says his prayers, and he'll pray for each individual person. And then we do bedtime kisses, and we do whole bedtime routine together. It is not your job. It is not my job. It is our job as parents to put them to bed together. So we get them in the shower together. We get them out of the shower together. If they want pajamas, I mean, we have boys that sometimes want pajamas, sometimes don't. They get pajamas, and then we go into the bedroom. We do our prayers, and we give
And
nighttime
even if you're feeling really bad, like I even make the boys, like we come and sit in the floor and like say prayers.
Yeah, if
right
I
there in
can't
the
get out of
bedroom floor.
bed, we'll sit in the. I'll stay in the bed, and the boys will sit in the floor, and we'll say our nighttime prayers. And so that is something that we do all the time. And then another thing that we do is very controversial. A lot of men's gonna be like, absolutely not. But we do all house duties together. It's not like one person's job to do everything. And we share the load. Like, I feel like this goes a lot with mental health. As a woman, a lot of women feel like it's their responsibility to work a job and take care of the kids and cook the dinner and go grocery shopping and clean the house and do the laundry and do all these things because like society has made it that the woman should do these things. And something that I'm very, very thankful for as a wife is that I have a husband that don't believe that. And he may believe that in secret on days that he does more than others.
I mean, I don't think it's like I necessarily believe it. I just feel like if I can make your life easier or my life easier, why wouldn't we do it? You know what I'm saying?
So
like at the same aspect, like if I'm not filling up to something and you're like, hey, I'll give the kids a shower. Yeah. Like I will put them in the shower and let them bathe or whatever it is. Then like, I feel like that's a lot different. And the same aspect of it is too, is, I mean, there's only a select few things that you do not do. And like, there's select few things that I do not do. Yeah. Like I do not grocery shop. Like, I mean, I go grocery shopping with you, but like if you do like Walmart
I do
pickups,
the planning.
Yeah, you plan for the meals and stuff. So I don't plan any of the meals. She asked me like if I feel like having pot roast or chicken stew or whatever it may be for dinner. I'm just like, yeah, I'm down for anything because I'm not a picky person.
Weekly meal prep.
Yeah,
and so you don't go you don't do the groceries. You also don't do the cooking. If I asked you to, you would. Or you'd order Mexican. I've only
ever cooked like a couple of times, like like if you really ask me to.
Yeah, but I don't take out the trash.
No, you do not.
I don't do dishes.
And you don't wash dishes.
And I don't wash clothes.
You do not wash clothes.
I don't wash clothes.
At all. Like at all. It's like I'm gonna go ahead and let you know, guys, if this was her option, I guess if we had like an endless amount of money, which we do not, I feel like she would just be like, I've already wore that. I don't feel like washing it. Just throw it away.
Throw it away.
And that's and it's not that she's a bad person.
No, it's just trauma. It's 100% trauma. So when I was growing up, I lived in conditions I shouldn't have lived in, and that'll probably be a podcast sooner or later. I'll have to come on here and talk about my childhood a little bit more. But to do dishes, we would put dishes in totes that you put like clothes in and stuff to put in the basement, and we would carry them to our grandparents' house, and we would wash these dishes and bring them back. And at this time we were at a certain age that for part of that we didn't have a vehicle, so we walked with these totes, me and my sister. And so I hate dishes, and I will always forever hate dishes. You said that about clothes. Like if I had endless amounts of money, like it'd all go in the trash after a dinner, or I'd eat out every day. But I genuinely love cooking.
And I would definitely order Mexican. That is 100%
and like
correct.
Same with laundry. Every time we had to wash laundry, we would put all of our laundry in a basket, and me and Amber would haul this laundry. Yeah. And so like it's very, I don't know. And I mean, it's not that I want, it's not that I won't do it. I just don't like.
Well, you do the laundry.
I will.
You just don't wash the laundry.
Yeah.
Like you, so we fold them together.
And we sort them, and we get them into the appropriate areas. Approximately once a month.
We got this like really big, like really industrial type, like rolly laundry cart, and like we just use that now, guys. But now you will do laundry, like if I'm not feeling good, or
vice versa. If I need to take it off your load, I will put it in. I'm not against it. It's
Yeah.
just something that you always take that load off of me.
Yeah.
That you're like, I'm going to check this off her list. And
It's not that you're above it. It's just,
it's not that I won't do it. And I've done dishes before, but maybe like 3 times since we've been together. Been together 8 years.
and washed 3 dishes.
But I do all the cooking. I really do love to cook. I'm not the best at cooking. I burn all the bread.
Back on the laundry, guys. That's what it was. Like you don't do the laundry like to wash them and stuff, but like I think the biggest thing is, and like what I enjoy the most about it, I guess, is that like we vibe with doing laundry.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
We have a good flow.
yeah, it's not like, oh God, we're doing this. Let me tell you, dude, we have like
I
a
mean,
legit.
I hate it, but I like it once we get started.
Yeah, but like we have like a legit system. Like
We do.
like people
We do.
we wait like a month to do our
We do.
laundry. Not really a full month, but
No,
you know,
I'm
just
just
being
being
dramatic. But really, like at the time of it, like we really have a good flow. Like we really go
It
in
don't take that long because you know exactly what to do. You
Maybe.
always fold the towels.
maybe 30 minutes max. Like maybe 30 minutes max. But like what we really do is we take this huge industrial cart. Okay, I'm gonna show you a picture of this thing. I'm gonna like video it, like me rolling this thing around. I'm honestly probably gonna put her in it just so you can see how big it is.
It's a big,
or
yeah.
myself, whatever, right? Well, anyway, what we typically do is we take this basket, we dump it out in the middle of the bed. Okay, so like we make our bed, we really, and it's fun. It's really kind of like we're kind of psychotic with it, I guess.
Yeah.
So like when we go to do our laundry, it's like we industrial clean our bedroom.
Yeah.
Like we go in, we get everything out of it. Like if we have any trash, like if we have a water bottle on the nightstand, like everything gets thrown.
Toys.
Yeah, anything that we have gets like thrown away. Toys get put up. We dust, we sweep, we do everything we can. Well, then what we do is we take this basket, we dump it onto the middle of the bed. Like we can't really dump it because this thing's heavy. But like we pull
get
the
all the
clothes
clothes
out.
out,
Yeah,
yeah.
like we pull all the clothes out and we put it into the middle of the bed. And then from there, what we do is we go and grab like all the other little laundry baskets that we have that we don't use anymore besides for sorting clothes.
We'll sort them.
And then what we do is like as we're doing it, like I pull all of the towels out. You're pulling your clothes and my clothes out. Yep. As at the same time, and my clothes go up at the head of my
Your
bed.
pillow, mine
Your
go on
clothes
my
go at the head of
pillow.
your pillow.
The boys go in a basket together.
Yep, the boys go to the basket
Then
together.
we have
The
underwear and socks.
They go in a basket.
And then we got our towel pile.
Yeah, and then we have like a towel pile that's at the bottom of the bed to the
Yeah,
left.
to the
And it's
left.
really weird because like
Yep.
I made it that way, I guess. Well, anyway, we get it all separated. And then like wham, dude, like we're flying through
We
it.
do the
Like
towels, then we do typically yours and mine, and then we'll put all the boys back in the middle of the bed.
Yep, and then we'll work
And then
on them together.
We'll sort
Yep.
them out together, and we have Everett's shirts and pants and Elliot's shirts and
And
pants.
this I guess this is where like I'm a freak at this time. Like I'm psychotic in my mind is that I don't like having folded clothes. I hate a folded
have to
t-shirt.
hang all yours.
I hate a folded the only thing that I do not hang is my gym shorts, my jogging pants, stuff like that. But like my t-shirts get hung, my every single one of my shirts, like shirts, jackets, all of that, they have to be on hangers. And it's the same way for the boys, is that what we do is we pull all the boys' shirts apart and then we hang them.
Yeah.
And then their pants go into a bin, their shorts go into a bin and stuff like that. So like it really, like if we really sit down and do it, like it takes us maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour
And that's
max.
with like a lot of laundry.
That's a lot. Like typically we can knock it out in like 10, 15 minutes. Then what we do is after, like while we're doing this, and this is what I was telling you, like it's kind of like more of a vibe thing. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's not fun, but because it's a chore that we have to do, but we try to make it so much more enjoyable, is that like we cut on music, we're jamming out. The boys are in their room playing, or they're in there running around, they're playing tag or whatever
Knocking
it is.
the dang laundry pile over 17
times. Like they jump up in, like Elliot is the world's worst. Like he'll jump up in the middle of the bed and he'll cover himself up, and like he just hides them. He's like,
And then he'll
"Come
act
find
like
me."
it's a leaf pile. He'll like throw them up.
Yes.
And so it's like. It's
And
the
Everett's not
funniest
as
thing.
bad anymore, but Everett likes
Everett
to do
minds
it
his
too.
own business before we put him to work.
And then it's fun though, because like we actually get to see it kind of change, like with Elliot, because I guess the progression of us doing laundry. Sorry, this subject is so long, guys, but like this is just the funniest part. Like after we're getting done with certain things, and this is the best part, is that we know that we're getting close when our son starts building forts with the laundry baskets. Like he climbs in our little laundry baskets, like he pulls them over, he climbs in there and hides,
Yeah.
or he walks around with them on his head and then
Yeah.
ducks and hides more.
But it's funny is like parents like. So there was a day, and I'll never forget this. This will be a core memory in my life forever. If you do not believe the phrase that like I don't even know what the phrase is, but I'll explain what I'm trying to say. Like your kids see you and your spouse, and they see your love and they feel your love, and like they watch you. And it was funny because me and Everett was doing laundry one day, and Dakota was somewhere, I don't know where. And he had asked me, he said, "Mommy, can I help you?" And I was like, "Yeah, buddy, come on. I'll teach you how to do it." And like we have a flow, and I'm the type of mom that like I'm not gonna mess up my flow because my kid wants to help me. Like he's gonna learn the flow. Like that's what's gonna happen. So like I'm showing him like, okay, we're gonna put shirts here and we're gonna do this, and this is how you get a hanger on a shirt. And it was my clothes, and my clothes are much harder because some of them are like wide necks, and like some of them are blouses and some of them are jackets. So it was a little bit complicated. And he said, "Did your mommy teach you how to do laundry?" And like talking to me like, "Did your mommy, like my mommy's teaching me how to do laundry. Did your mommy teach you how to do laundry?" And I swear to you, I almost broke down. I made a TikTok about it that night because I was like, it was a hard like gut punch feeling. Like, and I looked at him and I said, "No." And he said, "Oh yeah, you had a grandma. You didn't have a mommy."
Yeah.
And I was like, I did have a mommy, but my grandma's the one that taught me how to do everything. And that moment between me and Everett was like so beautiful. And it just makes you realize that like you are changing the way that your kids see things versus how you saw them as children based on the relationship you were in and like how healthy the environment is for your children. And so I'll never forget that. That is something that's like always like stuck
Embedded
with me about laundry. But the next thing that I feel like we do that a lot of couples don't do, we go to bed at the same time each night. We may not fall asleep at the same time, but we get in our beds almost 96% of the time together.
We're very boring people.
We're weird. Like I bet people.
Well, it's really not that bad though. So like if we're doing something, like in the aspect of it is like if I'm at the computer working, I will stay at the computer working. Like, but we're still in the same bedroom.
We're still
typically.
in the same room.
Now, like very
you won't
rarely
be on the couch watching TV or playing video games or something while I'm in bed.
Very
like,
very rarely has that happened.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that's only ever happened
once
like,
in a blue moon type thing. But 96% of the time or whatever, you are in the bed with me at nighttime. Like we spend our nights together. Our nights do consist of Elliot coming in our room saying that every body part known to man hurts
17,000 times a day.
It's still like we have that moment to like decompress. We have certain nights that we have TV shows that we enjoy watching together. And I feel like a lot of couples, and I mean, we're not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're perfect because we have a great relationship, but we are far from perfect. Don't prioritize the other person. And I know I fail at that sometimes because I will get a lot on my plate. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like the spoon theory. If you have like chronic illness or things like that, where like you start your day out with 5 spoons and everything that you do, the spoons get taken away. And once you get to the end, it's kind of like a battery. It's like once you get to your last spoon, like you don't have much left to give. And I fault myself for that a lot of times. It really hurts your partner. And I'm working on that because with dealing with being sick a lot, and I've put more work on myself than I should, mainly because like, you know, you've went full time with your business and it's growing like crazy. And my business was crazy before you started yours. And so now we've combined that and we've started offering more to people, and we still work for a lot of different people in a lot of different companies, and we still do weddings. And there's just so much that at the end of the night, like couples often forget to have that moment with their spouse. And even if it's just 5 minutes of connecting and like talking, which I mean, I can say I've failed at that a lot, but I feel like I love that we go to bed at the same time because that gives us that moment to like breathe. Even though we're together a lot, like it still gives us more time to like connect and breathe, I guess.
So I do want to touch on that. So that is probably the hardest thing, and that is probably the realest I don't know, the realest thing that I really want to talk about or try to be real with everybody and real with you about it is that it is hard. Like and I want people to know that, we love each other and I love you and we will always love each other. But just because you love each other doesn't mean you have to like each other. Right? It's not that it's, like she's talking about her 5 spoons and stuff like that. Like we both go through this. Like and as a married couple, you're still going to go through this with anybody that you're with or your partner or whoever it is. Even if you're together with someone, it is hard because like you may not feel a certain way, or you may feel a certain way towards something else. Like earlier today, today has been jam-packed full of stuff. Like today has been really hard on like both of us, like running around with each other. Like we're trying to figure out, okay, we have a meeting this morning, we have a doctor's appointment, we have to meet someone else, we have to meet this person, then we have to record a podcast, and then we're going to record another podcast, right? So we're trying to figure out how to plan out our entire day, and like at the same aspect, we're still trying to run our businesses and get through everything, right? So we're trying to sit here and figure out, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to be calm and not get overwhelmed? But at the same aspect, we went through that. Like we went through the high anxiety, like the overwhelmness of not only you, but me. Like we both had to sit down and like, as we're in the truck, and like that little bickerness that we had was like
calm down.
Was like, hey, calm down, right? Like, hey,
it's going to get done. We're going to get it done. We just need to breathe. Like this isn't going to.
Yeah, like if we're late, we're late. Like the podcast that we just recorded with like Ben fell short, and like I'm all over the place and I'm anxious because like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to shoot that, or not necessarily how to shoot it, but like what to ask and how to be the perfect host or whatever. So like there's a lot going through my mind, and it's like I got nervous like at the first time. It's like the first time like when I first recorded an episode. Yeah. It was like, oh crap, because like it's actually the first time I've ever had anyone else besides you. Yeah. Right? Like me and you, it's different because I can sit here and talk to you for hours because I talk to you every day. So it's like we kind of work off of each other. But like with someone else, it's a little different because of that aspect. It's like I don't know what to ask, I don't know what to say, and getting back to what I was saying, sorry guys, but getting back to like what I was saying is marriage is not easy. Being with a person that you love or that you're with all the time, or you're always dealing with, is not easy. So I do want you to know that if you are going through that, you have to understand like it is normal. Me and her have been married for 5 years. Yeah. And we've been together for 7 years. Going on 8. So I had to, guys, y'all are going to be watching me do this just to get the confirmation because I do not want to mess this up. But anyway, we're still learning new things about each other and how to cope with one another, or cope with certain things and deal with certain things. So like there's people who have just gotten married that's been newlyweds, or they've been married for a year or two, that are going through those struggles. And as we talked about with like Ben, he's kind of experiencing something that's a lot harder in that aspect of being, separated, right? And that is what's hard. It's own no one. It's own no one if you're separating or you're staying together or whatever, because relationships are hard. Yeah. Like they are truly hard. Like you are still, I know people that, and I don't want to say their names, and I don't want to mention them and tell you who it is, but I know people who have been married for years and years, and they still bicker and argue because like you are married or you are with your best friend, right? Like you're with them all the time. And like this couple that I'm talking about, they're with each other all the time. They work together. They live together. They're always with each other. And it is so hard because like, and it's the funniest thing because they have the healthiest marriage in the world, it feels like, and just to see them argue is the funniest thing because it's not really an argument that they're having. It's like us, but older. Yeah, it's like us, but older, right? But it's not. And it's funny because like, I talk about it in these little small spurts of arguments and like issues is like, hey, you have to work off of one another. And that's what I'm telling you guys is that marriage is not hard. And I don't know, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a marriage guru or whatever, but it is hard. Like there's some days that, I look at my wife and I'm like, why? Like, why are you so mad at me? Like, why am I so mad at you? Like, what is going through your mind? Like, why are we so anxious with one another? And like that's
A
kind
lot
of where
of
you
it's
have.
me.
Well, no, it's not you. I can't put blame on you because it's like at the same aspect. If I'm overwhelmed, we act the same way. But I think it's because like we're best friends. Like really, I think it's because like you're with each other for so long. We're with each other all day, and like we're still trying to figure out how to trying to figure out what word I want to say. Like trying to figure out what word it even is. Trying to figure out how to maneuver with one another. Right.
Yeah.
Even though that we've been together for a while, even though that we still work together, like we're still trying to maneuver how to act
And manage it
or
all.
manage
Yeah,
with
because
each
we
other.
don't leave our job at the doors. Like we don't work
No.
jobs where we can just go home and be Dakota and Dakota, not whatever. Our
Well,
title
it's not
is. We
even
don't
it's not
have
even just
titles,
our
but
jobs. It's because like even if we're leaving our jobs, like even if we're leaving like what we're doing for our careers, right? Or like what we're doing on a daily basis, we still have to come home and now we have another job as parents.
Parents,
Like
yeah.
so like
and husband and wife.
exactly. And so that's where, in the other episode and episode with Ben, we talk about balance and trying to find that balance with one another
Yeah.
is the hardest thing because and you may be going through this too. You may have a sick kid at home. You may have a sick kid in the hospital. You may have a job that is pulling you away from your wife or your husband or your
And it's a struggle.
in your relationship, and it's a struggle. You're not seeing them every day. You're seeing them too much of every day. Or whatever it may be. But you have to understand, like, things are going to happen, and they're going to fall in places that they should, right? And I think that, like, as me and Dakota have been together as so long, and like we're still trying to maneuver it, I think that's like the best thing. I think it's healthy for us to. I feel like it's healthy for you to argue and bicker with one another to a certain degree. And I think it's one of those things that I think the biggest thing is communication. I think
Yeah.
that's like what we talked about last time was communicating with one another was the hardest.
What's going on?
Yeah, because if I don't look at you and tell you to calm down, like, hey, we're going to get through this, or you'd look at me and tell me, Dakota, calm down. Snap
Yeah.
back to reality. Look, there goes gravity. I'm just joking, guys. But if you don't look at me and say, hey, Dakota, I need you to calm down. We got
need to
this.
stop.
Or if I tell you, hey, look, we got all this on our plate. There's no reason for us to panic. We're going to get it done. And if we're behind, we're behind. Like today, we were behind with the podcast. Okay.
And it wasn't even about the podcast as much on my aspect. Like I got to the point of so overwhelmed, I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. And I've not had panic attacks in a long time. Like I've gotten those under control, but I feel like we have put so much that we would normally have from now till the end of December to get done in the next 4 weeks because of my brain surgery. And so we've packed our days so back to back to back for the next like 2 weeks solid.
Yeah, because like this week is rough,
I mean,
and like next week's even harder.
Monday to Sunday. I mean,
Yes.
back to back things. And it's like, we've got to do this and we've got to do that. And today I had this whole plan and we were already slammed as it is. And then I got a phone call that I had to have a meeting with the CDSA for Elliot. And I'm like, really? Like right in the middle of the
Yeah.
day, it threw something on me. And we was going to go grab lunch and then come set up the podcast. And like, I was like, I ain't even going to be able to order my lunch now because I'm going to be on the phone, but we have to get to the podcast to get set up at the podcast.
Yeah.
Like now there is no time to wait. Like we're not going to be able to sit in the parking lot until I get done because it's going to take a minute. And I was just like, my head was going 57 miles per minute. And I'm like panting for breath. And then you're like, stop, like you've got to calm down for a minute. It's going to be okay. I'll go get your food. I'll do this. Let me take this off your plate. And I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you. Like, because you are really good at recognizing when I need help and stepping in there. And sometimes it turns into bickering because I'm hard-headed and I don't like help.
Very.
But at the same, and sometimes like you offering help makes like in
Makes
my
it
head
worse.
makes me feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing a good enough job at my job. And so it gets very stressful. And I feel like a lot of couples forget that you have to separate yourself sometimes and still be everybody. And that's hard. It's very, very hard because we work together. We've worked together most of our relationship.
Almost
All of our
almost all of
relationship.
it.
And so we've been
together a lot.
We've been
like, a long time.
coworkers.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been coworkers. We've been parents together. We've been husband and wife together. And sometimes we don't know how to flip a switch. We do with our parenting, but
Yeah.
sometimes we forget to flip the switch of, okay, we work together during the day. We
Yeah.
don't get a lot of time in our work day to like truly connect as husband and wife.
So we're like, it feels
even
like
though we're
constantly
together,
working.
even though we're together, we're a duo. We're not we are husband and wife, but like at the same time, I don't feel like we're husband and wife.
It feels like we're
it feels like we're working.
Yeah,
it feels like we're working our job, and then when we go home and we decompress, we do that. And I feel like being together at night helps us do that. Even though some days I'm just like, no, I'm tapped out, and I have a lot of issues with like getting overstimulated easily and tapping out. Like
Yeah.
I'll get to a certain volume of the day where I'm like, I just physically cannot handle any more right now.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
and I know that there's a lot of women out there that feel that way, and I don't know if men get the same kind of feeling, but it's like you're just like done. Like you can't experience anything else for the rest of the day, or at least until you breathe for a minute, because I feel like our lives are go, 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 go. And with my doctor's appointments and Elliot's doctor's appointments and Everett's therapy, and now Everett's in school, so it's back and forth to school and school functions and school fundraisers and school parties and our business and our jobs and wedding season, and it's like we never stop, and that it gets exhausting. And I fail as a wife a lot because I feel like I'm not doing enough for you as a wife. And so that comes at a cost. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people struggle with, how do you do this? Like stay-at-home moms. I have friends that stay at home with their kids, and they're like, when my husband gets home, I'm so tapped out from my kids. Like I don't know how to separate myself from being mom and become wife. Yeah. And I feel like that's a big thing. I don't know if men go through that in like shifting their life, or not really their life, but their mindset, I guess you could say, once they come through the doors. I don't know. Like,
So do I go through that? Is that what you're asking me?
yeah.
Yes. I know. So it's not really that it's like a hard switch for me, because like there's really not a lot that's going on up here. I mean, if I come home, and I just want to relax, I'm just going to relax. Or if I need to be dad, I'm going to be dad. Or if I need to be husband, I'm going to be husband. It's not that it's not that it's so hard of a switch, but I think it's that, like, if you're tapped out, yes, I agree with that 100%. Like if I go through a day and it's like, I don't know, if I feel like I'm so like busy, or like we have a lot going on, it's like, man, I just need to relax. And it's at that aspect too, like when you're home, you don't get to just relax. Like we have kids that are young and we want to be a part of their life. Like that's who we are. It's not that I'm going to sit back and say, no, go somewhere else. No, do this. It's one of those things is like, if my son brings me something on his tablet, or Elliot wants to do something, or like with cars or whatever it is, and he says, Dad, play with me, then, I'm going to be that person that says, okay, let's do it, And like, if he brings me, like the other day, he's like, I was in there messing around with my phone, and he's in there in the living room, and he's just playing with his cars. Well, then he walks up to me as I'm playing on my phone. He says, hey, he's like, Dad, will you play cars with me? Yeah. And he didn't say it like that, but you know how the 2-year-old talks. And I was like, what do you want to play? Yeah, let's do it. And so, you put down your phone and you be the father that you're supposed to be. I think the hard aspect of it is that, I don't know, I feel like you do get very overwhelmed, and like overstimulated and stuff like that. So I think that's probably the hardest part, is because of like trying to figure out how to help you. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to necessarily help you the most and combat that.
Don't worry, I don't know how to help me either.
Well, so it's one of those things is like I'm trying to kind of maneuver correctly, because like you said, if I ask you, hey, do you need help? Like the other night, like last night, I'm pretty sure it was, like I asked you, hey, do you need help with this? And like you didn't get mad or nothing, but like you could tell something was wrong with your voice, and you're like, no, I don't want you to help me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing that I did. It was just the fact that you were going through a lot, because like I walked outside, and I can't remember what I was doing. I was moving something, and like Everett and Elliot like flipped. Like they flipped a switch, and like they were screaming and fighting each other. And so like it made you overwhelmed, because you were trying to get dinner done.
No,
and
Everett was yelling at me because I didn't order his McDonald's.
That's what, yeah. So it was like McDonald's or whatever that he didn't order. I told him I was
cooking, and he said, will you order me McDonald's? And I said no. And this was like 30 minutes before this. I was like, I'm cooking. And he said, okay. And he runs off. And then he comes in the kitchen, and I'm plating food. And he's like, did you order my McDonald's? And I was like, no, Bubba, I told you like I was already cooking. You should have
Yeah.
asked like sooner. And then he starts flipping out because he
'Cause you
wanted
didn't order
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just overstimulated me so much because I was like, I'm literally just doing my best.
And,
like,
and so I feel like making that switch, like making the switch for me to be husband to like husband to father to like business partner or whatever we are, it's not like it's necessarily a hard switch because like I said, there's not much really going on up here. Like I live like at a free will kind of state of mind, you know what I mean? So it's like I can kind of switch a lot easier and say, hey, I need to be a dad. I think the hard part is being a father and still trying to cater to you and cater to the business. I think that's the hard part. I think that is what makes me so overwhelmed or makes it harder is because that's what's going through my mind. Yeah. It's not the fact that it's a hard switch for me to do. It's the fact that all three things are on my plate at one time.
Yeah.
And not just all three things on my plate. It's the responsibility of being an adult.
Yeah.
Or like in all of your emotions that you're going through, all the stuff that's happened that day or stuff that we still have to get done. Because like you said, we have a schedule that is jam-packed full of stuff. We have no time to breathe. Like today, for instance, like we're so packed, like we're so jam-packed, and it's not like with just work. It's not work. I mean, some of it is, but some of it's like, okay, doctor's appointments, school visit. You know, like we're having these things that we have to do that are a must. And like, yes, I maybe should have said, hey, we need to reschedule this podcast. Like we do this. I got 2 weeks to release it, right? Mm-hmm. So I should have just been like, hey, nope, let's just push this off. Let's do it a different day. But then at the same,
it's gonna be the same problem.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same problem. And the hard problem is with us pushing it off is that next week we have no time to record podcasts.
Yeah,
like we have no time to really
record or edit.
Yeah,
really.
like we have no time to really do much because like we have a style shoot to get ready for. We have a wedding that you're planning that we're doing a lot.
Photographing.
Yeah, that we're doing helping to do. So we have all this stuff going on. Like so, if I would have rescheduled it, it would have got pushed off, and it would have put us even further behind. Yeah. That's the same aspect of
then
like...
we would have been paranoid because we were further behind. So
yeah,
it's like
and so like...
battle.
Yeah, so it's like a losing battle because like and I think that's the hardest part is like right now we're trying to combat that and trying to get everything done in like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a lot of work on me. Like not necessarily you because you're not having surgery, but you're going to have more on you when I have surgery.
Yeah.
So you're going to have less time to be able to work. So that's why we're trying to get everything done. But in my perspective, like what if something happens to me during surgery and I like lose my creative ability to do things or get deathly sick or go
pass
into a
away
coma
or you forget
die.
who your kids are?
Yeah, like what if something happens and like I have someone's wedding photos that I've not finished? Like, you know, like those things are going through my head and I literally had therapy this morning and I told my therapist, I said, I literally talked without breath. Like it was a 30-minute session because I normally do an hour, but I told her I wanted 30 minutes because I was like, like we're spending an hour and I really don't have much to talk about because like I've not been very stressed. I've been doing good. And I get on the phone with her and I'm like, we have 30 minutes today, right? And she was like, yeah, only 30 minutes. And I was like, okay. I said, this is going to be a lot. And like, I literally did not breathe in between sentences.
The entire 30 minutes.
Because I don't think I stopped talking about what had happened in the past 3 weeks since I had seen her until like 22 minutes in. And like, honestly, I bet she was thinking like, this is the easiest therapy ever. You've just told me about your past 3 weeks. And I was just like talking about how I'm so overwhelmed and like that I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack and like, it's so much on me and it's not that anything nobody can help me.
Yeah.
This is me and this is what I have to do. And I am struggling with that because I'm still struggling with my health on top of everything else. And I'm pushing through even when I feel like my worst because I don't want to let anybody down because I am super bad at like, I cannot let anybody down. And, it's like juggling it all. And I literally did not like come up for air, I felt like, until 22 minutes in. And then I was like, okay. And then she told me, she was like, literally stressing about it's not going to change anything. And I was like, thank you. I know that.
Exactly.
But we,
You know what's crazy is that you listen to your therapist on this, guys, and I
Look, I don't
told you
listen to
the
her either.
same exact thing.
I don't listen to her either.
I
That's
know
why
you
I'm
don't.
still in therapy.
I know.
But she made some very valid points about my surgery and like my life, and she was like, you're doing the right thing by being proactive in case something did happen, because I hold a lot of weight on my shoulders for like once in a lifetime memories for people, and I never want to like let people down or anything like that. And I understand that. And we were talking about Elliot and like things with him, and just that I'm having this surgery, and that I just don't have time for everything. And I'm so overwhelmed. And I was like, okay, let's schedule the next session.
Yeah.
Like there was
let's
no
do it again.
time. Yeah. And so I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot going on right now, and there's nothing we can do about it. It just is what it is.
You are right.
So the next thing on our list is so if the kids wake up in the middle of the night, most of the time I take care of it. Most of the time. If you're asleep, I'm the one that takes care of it.
I think the reason for that though is like when I'm asleep, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare. Like if I am awake, and I guess it depends on when I fall asleep.
Yeah.
So like if I fall asleep at like 10, and they happen to wake up at 12, then that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Like now if it's 10 for me to fall asleep and then they wake up at 4, I'm more
It's a little
apt to
bit
get
different.
yeah.
And then like I do not do well with mornings. So if they wake up super early, Dakota handles that.
Yeah, you
so
do
that's
not.
kind of like our median. And it's just what works for us. It don't work for everybody, but it does work for us. So that's just something that works for us. Another thing, we do parenting together as often as possible. A lot of our children's appointments, we're at them together.
It's very rare that we miss appointments. Like the most,
Yeah.
I think the most appointments that like we've missed is like when it comes to speech for
And
Everett
occupational
or
therapy.
occupational therapy.
Because
Yeah.
I'll handle Elliot's stuff some weeks. If I'm overwhelmed, you'll take him to speech so that I can cook dinner.
Yes.
Because of the timing of therapy, and we're at several times a week. And it just works for us. But I'd say a good 85 to 90% of the time we do those things together. And there's not really in our relationship, what most would call like a default parent. Like a default parent is like the mom always takes the children to the doctor and to school and to appointments and to ball games and this, that, and the other. And the dad just works. And that's just not the case for us. Like we split a lot 50-50.
I feel like that's made life a lot easier.
Yeah. Like we both do the same job. And like some weeks you see that I need more support, and there's weeks that you need more support. And we just kind of funnel off that the best that we can. I'm not saying every week's perfect, because there's weeks that I don't realize how much you have on your plate, and you don't realize how much I have on my plate, and we cross boundaries there. But like for the most part, we do really good at splitting 50-50 and trying to make sure that one parent does not have as much on them by themselves.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So another thing, and I'm gonna go through the next few things kind of quickly unless you like want to hit on anything. This is pretty controversial in couples, and I see a lot of couples that have been together for many, many years that do the complete opposite of us. But our money is our money. Like we both work, both of us have jobs where like our income fluctuates. So one month might be really good, and the next month may be really bad, or it may be a weekly thing, it might be a daily thing. But we funnel it all together, and it's ours. Like we don't really have your money and my money. We just whatever we need or whatever we want, we buy it, and that's just what works. I mean, we're cautious with our money and we're very frugal with our money, but we do it all together, and
Like we really don't. Like it's not like, hey, you can't.
you don't pay 6 bills and I pay 5 or
Yeah.
anything like that. Like,
And there's nothing wrong with nothing wrong with that.
separating it, because
Yeah.
not every relationship
Yeah.
is like ours, and not every relationship like I used to have a very unhealthy relationship with money, and
Yeah.
you've always been super great with money, and I can understand if you're in a relationship where one person is like really bad with money and one's really good with money, and you have separate bank accounts and stuff. I can understand that, but in our perspective and what works for us is funneling it together and doing it all. And like you physically pay all of our bills.
Yeah.
So like I suck at knowing who's owed what at what time. Like I could do better at it if I wanted to, because I'm a planner. Like I could make sure that it's done. But like we have billing accounts that money goes in for our bills, and you just pay everything out of that, and you track all our finances. Like, you know what's coming in and what's coming out. And honest to God, I don't even care. Like, as long as I can buy like some chicken nuggets every now and then, and my
good.
bills are paid, like I'm Gucci. I'm great. We make all big life decisions together.
We do. We've talked about that a little bit. Yep, so that one's a good one.
And we've kind of hit on that a lot. But we don't do one thing. Like, I don't know. Like, if I feel like I need to make a life-changing decision with work or with my health or with our children, we sit down and we have those in-depth conversations together. It's not just, oh, you're the mom, figure it out, or you're the dad, figure it out. We make those decisions together. If we have to make a very large purchase, we sit down and we weigh out the pros and the cons, and we kind of decide what is best for our family in those moments.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I really like that. Another thing we do is, like, we don't undermine the other person's parenting. So some people have like this battle of like, oh, if dad says no, mom will say yes, or if mom says no, dad will say yes. And we don't do that. If you say no, it's no from me too, and vice versa. If I say no, you stand behind me. And I know our kids are super young, and that might change as they get older, but like, we respect each other enough that if I make the decision of, hey, Everett, you can't have your tablet for the rest of the night, you've been disrespectful, Dakota would chime in and say, Everett, you shouldn't have been disrespectful to your mother.
You're not getting
your tablet. And it's not just that, it's like other things. But this is another Jeopardy question. Okay. What is one thing that you do absolutely every day that you hardly ever see me doing unless I have to?
Huh?
What is one thing
that
you do absolutely every single day, but you hardly ever see me do it?
I don't know.
You drive.
Oh yeah, you don't. Yeah, that's different. I don't let you.
Here in my notes it says this is something that's purely for safety because I'm a terrible
I do
driver.
not let you drive because I want to live for a little while longer.
Yeah.
I do not trust your driving. I mean, it's really not bad, honestly. It's not bad.
It's just my vision's really bad.
You follow too closely to cars.
This whole brain thing has made my vision a lot worse, and I don't trust myself anymore.
Don't blame it on the brain thing.
No, like, I mean, I was
She's
a bad driver.
She's been a bad driver since we've been together.
I was a bad driver before that, but like lately, like I get like my head gets spinny and stuff like that.
Right.
And I, for safety reasons, I really do.
Well, I think it's just
don't want to drive a lot of the times.
I think it's just a lot easier though, is because of I don't know. I just drive when we drive, I just drive the truck. Yeah. Like, it's a lot easier because, like, even then, like, when we do ride in the car and stuff, like, there's sometimes you will drive. If I really ask you to drive, you're going to drive. But most of the time, like, I'm good. Unless, like, we're coming back from, like, somewhere and I'm just, like, tired or something. We're pretty good. That was a hard question because, like, there's a lot of things that I already answered the two things. I didn't even think about driving. I totally even forgot about that.
That's a big task that you take on doing all the time.
I'm like your personal chauffeur.
Yeah, passenger princess all the way. We have 2 kids, so like when we go out in public together, it's not one person's responsibility to get the kids in or out. So like you may get them out, and then when we get back in the truck, I'll put them in.
Yep.
Or you may get one child and I get the other child. Like we split that because that's like, I think, a parent's worst nightmare. Like, I hate buckling and unbuckling so many times, like when we're out running errands and stuff. And with 2 kids, it's even harder. So we kind of split that task so that it's not like overwhelming on one person to where they're not enjoying our time out.
Yeah.
Like if we go to Winston shopping or things like that, like we do like share that workload. So
what else?
The last thing is like really.
Ooh, the last thing. Hold on, wait a minute, guys. We are on the last thing. All right, guys, I'm just messing around.
That was cheesy. I guess our goal, like as husband and wife and parents, is to be the most active parents that we can be and to be different than what we had growing up. And like,
I feel like people look at us like we're crazy, either that we're crazy or that we're liars. Like, I really feel like
people think it's a front a lot of the time.
I truly do.
I do get the vibes that people do not
like
believe us.
When we were at like today's his IEP meeting or whatever. I feel like it was just like, Are they really?
Yeah, she was like, "Can you come have a meeting with all the rest of the parents?" And but
Like,
it's not even
I don't
that.
know if
Or
that's
it's even like when we tell people like what we do for our kids on the weekends after we work, like we give them dollar bills to like put up in savings and stuff, and like
I really feel like people don't believe us. I
people
really feel
think
like
people think that we lie about that, but like we genuinely don't. Like our kids make money when we make money, and it goes up into a savings to where they have money and that they're set. Because
Yeah.
I never got that.
and
Like,
it really may be like literally 5 $1 bills and like
or some weeks it's 25. I mean, one week it was 100. I mean, it really does
Yeah.
depend on the week. Like there's a lot of weeks where it's like 10 or 12 or $14, like random numbers. But like we give them money every single week to put up. And it's not even like, oh, this is your money. Let's go buy you something from Walmart. Like if they want something from Walmart, most of the time we buy it with our money, even though they know that they have money and their money stays their money.
and it's really not like oh hey, I'm not saying like hey it's just free money that we're just giving away or nothing like that. Like
It's
that's not
just
what
to
she's saying.
build a
It's just
savings for them.
it's to build a process. Like if it takes you, and yes, you may be struggling financially or whatever it is that you're going through, and not saying that me and her's not, right, or that we're not going through something internally or whatever it may be. But I think it's seeing the joy in my kid's face.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's the biggest thing is because
And they
like
know,
Yeah.
know when we get home after working a really long Saturday, they're like, they're ready. They're ready
Yeah.
for their dollar bills to put in their like bank or piggy banks, whatever you want to call it. And they're so excited for that.
And it may be
And-
even, and it really just may be, I don't know. I think it's like you said, they're really truly excited about it. And it's something like, I didn't have that as a kid. And I don't think you did either.
No. I mean,
And-
my grandpa gave me money, but I never had enough money to save it like that.
Yeah.
Like money that I got was spent on like body wash and deodorant and bras and new clothes and shoes and socks. Like my money was never like put up. Like I didn't have the luxury of someone buying me all my necessities
Yeah.
and me being able to put the money that I had worked for up. So like
And it's not like we're giving
just-
them. It's not like we're giving them thousands and thousands of dollars. Or whatever. I don't care if it's quarters or whatever it is. If I have like 50 cents and I give each one of my kid a quarter, they're going to run to their piggy bank and drop it down.
oh yeah, and they're gonna be so excited.
And like Everett is the same way. Like now he's older. Elliot doesn't quite understand it, but like if Everett sees a penny on the ground,
He picks
it's
it
like
up.
picks it up, piggy bank.
yeah,
you
he
know?
knows it goes in his piggy bank.
And he knows.
And like they didn't learn that from just knowing it. Like it's
Yeah.
something that we've instilled in them of like the value of money. And sure, they're young. So, but that you have to start somewhere
Yeah.
with your kids and set a foundation for the rest of their lives. And I don't know. I feel like that's something we do as a couple, as parents.
And
that
people do
I
believe.
genuinely love.
People think we're liars.
People
They
do
have
think
to.
we're lying. And I know that we don't have the perfect relationship, but a lot of people probably think that we lie about like how much like what our relationship is. Like
Yeah.
you literally, if you know that I'm going to do a job that's like very like hard on my body and you know that I don't feel good, like you're there by my side.
Yeah.
Like you're going to drop whatever you have to drop to be there and to be the man that I need in that moment. And I believe that a lot of relationships is not like that because a lot of people are one for their own and they don't realize that like little bits go a long way. And I think that's what made me fall in love with you. Like so much in the beginning was like, it wasn't about you. Like
Yeah.
you always put everybody in your life above anything else. And me being sick in the past like half a year has made me realize that like no matter what happens, you're going to take care of me. And like I don't worry. I mean, I worry about surgery, but I don't worry about what recovery looks like as much because I know that like you are going to make sure that I do what I'm supposed to do and take care of me. And like with some of my jobs, like you constantly remind me and you're constantly worried about me. Like, don't do that, Dakota. You don't need to be lifting that. Here, put these earbuds in so it's not hurting your hair, like your head. Like you literally like are always thinking about me. And that is something that like I find the most attractive about you more than anything else is like that you are so selfless.
Yeah.
Like you can be having the worst day and you're still worried about how I feel. And that is something that like a lot of people, when I talk about it to other people and to other women,
They do not believe that.
they don't believe it. They don't. Like I really believe that like I don't know if you ever heard stories about like the woman that talks about their men the most are the ones that beat them and like treat them like shit.
Yeah.
And you're trying to prove something to somebody that
Yeah.
they're like the best thing in the world when
I've
reality
never heard
they're not.
that. I'm so I've not heard that. So
No,
please, guys,
no,
listen.
like,
She's talking good about me. Please do not think I beat my
It's-
wife.
No, it's a big stigma that like haven't you ever heard of like the women that post their relationships so much online are the ones that are the most unhappy?
You're not making this case any better for me.
I
Please,
know,
please,
but,
please
like,
just stop. I
it's-
get it. I
it's
get it.
not
They
like
get
that.
it. It's okay. I do.
It's not
You're
like
making.
that
You're
at
not making
all.
it good on me.
Shut up. It's not like that at all. Like I genuinely talk about you that way because you are my rock. Like even though we bicker and things like that, but like I literally don't know what I would do without you. Like I don't think I'd
Vice
be able to
versa.
function.
Vice versa. Like I mean,
Yeah.
truly, like really, like thinking about it, and like we've talked about this countless number of times. It's a hard thought to like go into surgery, like what we're dealing with now, or go in anything, and realize like how hard it would be without you, right? So like if you really sit back and think about it, and you just sit down and think about it as a wife or like a husband, a wife or a girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever it may be, I would really just sit down and think about like what your life would be without that person.
Yeah, like if they died today, what would your life look like?
Like I would have no schedule. I would not have dinner made. I mean, I wouldn't have to worry about dishes because she don't wash those. I wouldn't have to worry about driving, but like the other things, like to
There's
really
a
think
lot
about
that
it,
your
I wouldn't
spouse
have a
does.
mother to my child, like to my children. I wouldn't have those things. So like literally sitting down or having that moral support of you saying, "Hey, just need to do this. You just need to get it done. You just need to do it." Or having that person that's like in my ear saying, "Hey, you've got this."
Or when you're at your computer desk and I'm like so comfortable in bed, you wouldn't have nobody to turn around 76 times and say, "Hey, come look at this. Hey, come look at this.
Exactly.
Hey, I know you're laying down, but can you come look at this?"
Yeah, like I wouldn't have that. Like, and that's the hard part. Like, and I would really sit down if you were really struggling as a couple, as whatever you are.
Look at it in that way.
I would really look at it that way and just try it. I would really just sit down and say,
Yeah.
where would my life be without that person? And if
Yeah.
you're going through something that's really hard and like you're about to split up or you've splitting up or you're still together and you're fighting or whatever it is, I would literally just sit down and say,
Got it that way.
yeah, like, hey, like
And
like
honestly-
like Ben said in the last episode, like make it hard.
Yeah.
And like that's a hard conversation to have. That is a hard thing to
I
sit
think
here and
that's
think
the hardest
about.
conversation we've had since Emmett passed
Yeah,
away.
because like sitting here looking at it, like what would I do if I lost you? Right? Like and literally
Or like
think
me
about it.
telling you what to do if I die.
yeah, and it's not like one of those crazy things. It's like, oh man, hey, yada yada. Don't make a joke out of it. Really,
Like, it's
really,
serious.
really
It's very
make it
serious.
hard on yourself. Don't tell her, or you don't tell him, or you don't tell your lover, or
But
whatever it
just
is.
sit down and think about
Literally go into your room, go to your car on your way to work or whatever.
it. And just envision it for a moment.
Yeah, envision what it would be like if you're a father and you have a wife, right? And you're still together or whatever. Really think about what it would be like to lose your wife, right?
Yeah.
Literally think about what it would be like to lose your husband. And you may think, oh, life would be easier. I'm gonna promise you, it probably would not be. Even if you're separated or whatever it be, and you still have that the father of your kids, the mother of your kids, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whatever it may be, if you still have that person in your life, or in someone that you know's life, just think about it that way, really, right? Like if you're separated as a couple, like separated and you've been married or whatever, think about what it would like. You may have the worst relationship on like God's green earth, right? You may hate that person till whatever it may be, right? And you really sit down and think about it, like what it would be like for your life or that person's life to lose it, like to lose that person, even if you're not together.
And I think
You know?
a big thing for me, like when we had that conversation, was sitting down and realizing, like, what if I was not given tomorrow? What would I do differently?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
what would I say to my spouse? What would I say to my children? And I think I've been more intentional with my children in the past week and a half since I found out about surgery than I ever have been.
Yeah.
Like, literally getting to eye level and understanding what they're saying to me instead of just passing by, because, like, there's moments where I get so anxiety prone of I got to get this done and I got to get dinner done and dinner needs to be done and on the table by 6:30 and this needs to happen and that needs to happen, that I forget to like actually take a moment and listen to what my children are saying or listen to what you're saying, and knowing that like putting that mindset in my head of, man, I may only have 4 more weeks to live, or man, I could potentially die at any moment. And that is something that, like, and I'm not saying, I know that there's people out there that are truly dying or like going through a disease that could take them at any moment, or fighting cancer or things like that. And I'm not trying to diminish that. I'm just trying to put into perspective for you of how lucky and how blessed you are if you're not having to deal with those things, of taking a moment and realizing that your life is so precious and the people around you is so precious, that you need to stop and realize, like, what would I do without them?
And I think what we're going to start
say?
implementing with each other, and like I haven't discussed this with her, so I've just really thought about this, is I think we're just going to have to slow down. Like I think that we not necessarily like with work or whatever it is, but I think like once we finally get home, like for instance tonight, I mean it is going to be like 6:45, whatever time we get home, right? Yeah. So like by the time we get home, I think it's just one of those things is like we need to implement, hey, we're not going to touch our phones until like phones, computers, work. And like we're just like we're just going to breathe. We're going to hang out with our kids and just be normal.
Cook and do things.
And we'll keep you updated on how our life goes with that. So that way you guys are aware of it and you can actually, and not believe us when we tell you that, hey, it might change.
It's hard. And like I'm going to sit here and say it's going to be harder for me than it is for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a people pleaser. When someone texts me, I need to text back right then. And I think the reason that I do that is, which I don't do that to everybody, but people that I know that I could let down, like I will. But like, or people that I feel like I owe something to, let me rephrase that. I have to respond because I feel like if I don't respond in that moment, they may not need me later.
Well, you better respond before we get home. Because I'm going to have to do the same exact thing. My phone's blowing up now.
My phone is blowing up too. Yeah.
Like we have so much.
Like, where are the Dakotas right now?
Yeah, like we have so much stuff going on right now that it is insane. Like if you could see my notifications, it is insane, and it's all kinds of stuff, So I think at this point, once we get home, I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to answer it before we get home, so we can spend 5 minutes here, get our stuff together, and then cook dinner and hang out with our kids. And guys, I'm gonna tell you how it goes. On the next episode, I will update you with a little story time of like how it went for me and my wife on Monday, the 28th of October.
At 6:34 p.m.
Yep. And are you good? Are you done?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm done. This has been honestly more than I thought it would be.
It was supposed to be like a 15, 20 minute podcast. I really thought
it was going to be like 15 minutes, and we're like
an hour and a half.
Hour.
Like an hour.
But I feel like it's helpful. It's helpful for other couples to see.
Or to hear, like to hear like the real life thing.
Yeah, other people's perspectives on a lot of different topics. Yeah. And I know, it kind of does go hand in hand with mental health and understanding what your spouse is going through and take into consideration their spoons or their life and knowing how to drop it at the door and do it. And that's something I need to work on. That's something you need to work on. Yeah. We all need to work on it. So we're collectively talking about it together so that we all can work on it together.
And I think that's a great thing too. And we'll end on this note so that way we can finally get out of here. But I think this podcast and opening up and just talking with her and talking to myself and talking to whoever else it may be, like for instance, Ben and all my other friends and stuff, that it has truly opened my eyes up to, go back to like what Ben said, to find that balance of everything and really be able to say, hey, like there's more important things than us fighting or us struggling or whatever it may be. Like, hey, we just need to talk. And I think it's really opened my eyes up to, hey, just be more comfortable, be more relaxed. And now it's not that I'm not stressed. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, hey, this is life-changing and yada, yada. But it has truly helped. And I feel like the more that I do it, the better that I'll get at, posting these videos or working with other people. And like I said at the beginning, that was the hardest thing for me, was bringing on Ben, because I plan on having another guest on next week or like here soon that is going to be not necessarily next week, but it's going to be here soon that like, I have to know what I'm going to say because I don't want to look stupid, or I want to be able to post this, guys, for you to keep you guys, entertained. Right. But like, so that way you guys actually understand, like, look, this is helping me. I know this is helping other people. And like as I've talked to this about, like, as we talked with like Ben and stuff, it's therapy's helped him.
Yeah.
Therapy's helped people. And like, this is like my therapy right now, right? This is a lot for
This
me.
is your stepping stone.
Yeah, this is like my stepping stone because like I don't do this like we talked about. It is a bad juju type thing, very frowned upon, that you do not talk about your feelings like this, right? And I think that has I think it's truly helped me, and so I really hope it's helping you guys and helping your husbands, your boyfriends, or helping you as a wife or a girlfriend or whatever it may be, or just a partner in general. I hope it's really helping you guys, and if you're really listening to it. And they're only going to get better. As me and her sitting here figuring out things, that's the hard part, right? Because like I've never done this before. She's never shot a podcast before. Like she's done her own, but not like necessarily this in depth, like what we're trying to do. Yeah. And like we're trying to set up different lights, set up different cameras, like try these things. And like we have problems working around. Like this podcast right now, we've had a camera overheat because like we've been here so long. Yeah. And it's like trying to figure out the balance between all of that. And we're making it harder on ourselves. Like really, we have made it hard on ourselves. Like, we've made it hard. And I don't necessarily live to make it hard, but I really think it's made us better with one another because we are really slowing down and talking to one another and saying, hey, you just need to stop. And yeah, we may have bickered a little bit more, but at the same aspect, I think now we're starting to see, hey, as long as we're communicating, we're doing great. Yeah. Like we're doing great. Like truly. And like, I mean, it's not that I don't get tired of you, I mean, that's a good thing. I hope you don't get tired of me. But other than that, guys, I think it's, I think it's time to end it for the night. Yep. Right. So we're going to pack up,
cook me some food.
We're going to pack up. We're going to get us some food and, have a grand old time, guys. So, look, if you have not problems. If you have something going on in your life and you really need to talk to somebody, anything that's going on, whether it be me, Dakota, my buddy Ben, and other people that's coming on, if you need help, trust me, reach out to one of us. Reach out to anybody, right? Reach out to your friend, your family. You see how it is. As long as you lean on someone else and you open up, talk to them. If you don't want to tell them everything, don't tell them everything. Guys, I'm going to be working on getting some stuff sent out, like posted. So that way, guys, like you can send me anonymous emails or put an anonymous chat or an Excel sheet or whatever it may be. Me and my wife's got to figure it out, not me, I guess. But I want you guys to be able to reach out to me, ask questions, or anybody else, and so that way we can answer them on this podcast, that we can talk to you about it. Because like, I want you guys to get the help too. And if it's just listening to me and you don't want a message, don't do it. Right. But I want to make it to where it's anonymous too. So that way, if you don't want your name out there, you don't have to. So that way you feel more comfortable with everything. So we're going to work on that. Other than that, remember, just like, subscribe, because that only helps my story get out there further and everybody else's story, and I know that Ben has a lot more to talk about. And I know that my wife has a lot more to talk about. I know that they have stories, and we're getting to that, guys. Me and her talked about this, and we don't really want it to be full of just trauma and sad and depression stuff. Like, that's why we really wanted to make it more real life situations.
Relatable.
More relatable to like what everybody's going through, because not everybody's lost a child. Like Ben said,
some things it's marriage. Yeah. Some things it's dealing with your children, or if you have like a special needs child, or if you're dealing with all of these different problems and addiction. Like, there's just so many different things
that are going through, and we want to make it more relatable to you guys and to us, and so that way we can all benefit from this. And that's what we really want. It's not that it's not that we just do this for the heck of it, I guess. Like, we really want to help people. We want to make that difference. And you may not believe me, right? It's the same thing with me and my wife having the same